You don't see me. What up, G? Hey guys, what's going on? All right, so I just got the Rev C back from a 6-week vacation at Mesa where Mike V did his magic, gave it a service, got it all tip-top and good to go. And it sounds freaking amazing. So what I want to do today is I want to start the comparos by going ahead and comparing to the only other recto that I still have on hand, which is my Tremoverb, which is based on a Rev G. You know, the Tremoverb's a little bit darker, a little bit just more awesome than your normal dual rec, but it's still fundamentally a Rev G in terms of the huge wall of sound thing. Whereas something that I've been thinking about a lot today is this Rev C. This thing is actually voiced, well, I should say, the Badlander is actually voiced a lot like this Rev C in terms of, you know, I wish I still had it to do a comparison, but just, it's not exactly the same. You know, the older amps are always more organic, where the newer amps are a little bit more compressed. But, you know, similar to how the multi-watt is really very similarly voiced to a Rev F, I really do think that the Badlander is similarly voiced to this Rev C. It has a killer harmonic swirl, really awesome feel under the fingers. You know, it has less bottom end, and really the Badlander has even less bottom end than this thing does, but compared to a later one, it's got a really nice upper mid-range growl and pretty sweet liquid lead tone, you know, all those things that kind of has in common with the Badlander. So interesting comparison if you ever have a chance. I didn't really get that about the Badlander until I had a chance to play this Rev C. But anyway, we don't have that anymore. What we're going to do today is compare it to this Rev G Tremoverb and see what you guys think about the differences in tone. So I'm going to set it up exactly the same. All the knobs are going to be set exactly the same, with the exception of the presence is just a little bit, about 1/8 of a turn difference, but everything else is going to be set the same, front and back. I'm even going to be using the same tubes. I've got some JJ 5881s, and I'm actually going to swap the same tubes from one amp to the other. So it's all JJ in the pre, and then the 5881 in the power section. So it's as similar as possible. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually on a traditional 412 with the vintage 30s in it. And then over here, I've got another traditional 412 that I loaded with some older UK-made G12T-75s. So I'm going to see about doing an either or, and then also some blending. Because these are still rectifiers, I am going to boost it and gate it with my OD1X, and I'm going to be playing on an EMG 81. So I'm just going to do a riff, and just to kind of show a fundamental recordable tone difference between the Rev C and the Rev G. In the room, they do sound different, but you know, a lot of this is what's in the room is not necessarily what's on the microphone. So check it out and see what you guys think. Today's test brought to you by awesome fucking amplifiers. Later.